unmute yourself and give me a shout out. Otherwise, we're going to come onto the floor, just into a little cross-legged position to start with for a moment. So you can just have your belt or your strap nearby if you have one. Again, if you don't, it's not too much of a problem. So we're going to take our backs of our hands onto our knees, begin to close our eyes. Taking whatever seated comfortable position feels right for you this morning. Begin to soften through the shoulders. And just allow ourselves to be in the moment, be present. Very early past 6:30 in the morning. Ooh, we did it. So take a big deep inhale in through the nose. And as we exhale, exhale out through the mouth. Letting everything go, being as heavy as we can. Do one more here, big deep inhale. Exhale through the mouth. You can come back to an inhale and exhale through the nose. So we're starting to work into themes in our class just over the next few weeks, I think, maybe longer. And today we're going to be working with the theme of openness. We'll be doing some heart openers today, which will be fun. But really, we're starting to work with openness because, as Abba says, kids are going back to school, the times are kind of changing, the seasons. I think we start to feel it now, it's getting a bit darker. So as we start this week, as we start this Monday, let's just drop into the body. Maybe you can map through this week slightly in your head and just see if there's moments where you can approach with a bit more openness, a bit more lightness. Maybe there's a couple of difficult scenarios coming up. Maybe there's something that makes you feel a bit tense or that you're just a bit nervous about. And just imagine the body is expanding, the heart is opening. You need to walk through that week with openness. Let's just say an affirmation, an intention to ourselves, which is, I can walk through any situation with openness. I can walk through any situation with openness. And begin to take the hands to the heart center. Big deep inhale again through the nose. Exhaling through the nose this time. Long deep exhale. And then we can begin to flutter the eyes open. Let's just take one big inhale and lift the arms up. Give the hands a big stretch, maybe interlace the hands, lift the palms up towards the ceiling, gaze towards the fingers. And then drawing the hands down the central line. And we'll draw the knees in and begin to flip over onto our table. In our table, let's go straight to our cat-cow. So taking the wrists directly into the shoulders, knees directly into the hips. As we inhale, we begin to lower the belly down towards the mat. Lowering the chest between the shoulder blades, lifting the gaze and the horizon. As you exhale, press through the hands and begin to round the spine, allowing the head to drop down. Keep moving here with your own breath in your cat-cow. Taking big, deep inhales and big, deep exhales. You may want to add a little bit of different movement. So today, especially since we're working with the theme of openness, I really want you to follow what feels good for your body. So that might mean that you don't flow quite so rigidly. Maybe you're a little bit more loose in the body as you flow. It's all very optional, of course. But just see, so maybe you want to take some circles. Maybe you want to make this cat-cow bigger or smaller. If you've been going in circles one direction, let's take them in a different direction. Keeping that cat-cow as we do. Really moving into the body, seeing where it feels good, maybe where it feels a bit tighter. And then we'll begin to come back to stillness. In stillness, let's begin to lift this right arm all the way up to the sky. So lift my arm all the way up, twisting the chest towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, thread that right hand through the left hand, begin to place the right shoulder onto the floor. And wiggle the right fingertips through. So keeping the hips nice and lifted into the air. If you can wiggle the right fingertips even more through, so really onto that shoulder. And then with the left fingertips, take them onto the floor and begin to think about drawing this chest up towards the ceiling. So the shoulder stays down, the head can come down as well. But we're thinking about twisting the chest upwards towards the ceiling. If you'd like, you can even take that hand off the ground and take it to the lower back or all the way around to the right thigh. Doing again what feels right for you. Let's take 2 deep breaths here, inhaling. And exhaling, twist a little more. Last big breath, inhale. Exhale, twist. Taking the hand back down to the floor if it's wrapped round. And then on the inhale, we'll lift the right hand all the way back to the ceiling. Looking up towards that ceiling and then placing the hand down. Inhale, lift, and the left hand up towards the ceiling. Big stretch here, twisting towards the ceiling. And then exhale, taking the left hand, threading the needle through. Shoulder coming release down towards the floor. Wiggling the left fingertips through. And then we can begin to twist it. So make sure the hips are lifting upwards. The head can release. On an inhale, we stay towards the floor, and exhale, we begin to twist the chest. And again, maybe lifting this hand all the way up and back to the lower back or towards the left thigh. We'll take 2 more deep breaths in. Big, deep inhale. And exhale, twisting a little bit more. 1 more big inhale. And exhale, twist. On the inhale, lift the right hand all the way back up. And then exhale, take the right hand down to the mat, engage the core. And inhaling, lift the left hand up towards the ceiling again. And then let's take the left hand down. From here, we're coming to our puppy pose. So for puppy, we want to make sure that those hips are directly on top of the knees. They don't go back towards our child's pose, and they stay directly on top. So you can just have a little look back and get that roughly in place. And then let's walk these hands forward, keeping the hips exactly where they are. Walk them forward, forward, forward until the body begins to straighten a little. And then we can begin to let the chest come towards the floor. So there's a big shoulder open here. So we can be a little relaxed with this. You can take the elbows to the floor. Allow the shoulders to soften slightly, drawing this chest down. You can look up. If you're quite bendy and the shoulders quite open, maybe the chest comes to the floor. In that case, you can place the chin onto the floor. Otherwise, we just keep settling down, looking slightly forwards, or even the forehead coming to the floor. Finding the option that feels right for you. We're going to stay here for 3 more deep breaths in our puppy pose. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good, lovely, everybody. Inhaling here. And exhaling. Last big breath. Inhale. And exhale deep and slightly more into your puppy. And on the inhale, engage the core and begin to lift back through your table pose. From here, we're going to tuck the toes under if they're not already. Take the hands slightly forward, but nowhere near where puppy was. And then draw the hips back towards the heels. Press into the hands. Start to really engage that core. So by that, I mean kind of suck the navel a little more towards the spine and begin to click and switch on in that core. And then lifting the hips nice and high, we're moving to our downward facing dog, looking between the knees. And then we can begin to walk this dog out. So taking this walking the dog really slowly and with care. So today we're working with our kind of heart center into some openers, which are otherwise known as back bends, but back bends can sound a bit scary. And it's not too much of that today. It's more just a lot of opening in the shoulders. And one of the other things that can feel quite a lot is our hips as well. So this is the one area, our heart, and then we'll be looking at our hips next week too. So we're really looking into these areas that kind of open us up a bit more. And when we work into those, we want to create a slower pace. So we really want to, in our downward facing dog, for instance, to work on flexibility here, really take this nice and slow as you're walking the dog out. As you press down through that heel, you'll need to feel that stretch the hamstring. Stay here for a little bit until we move to the next foot. Begin to feel that muscle stretching. It might feel quite a lot. That's okay. Just stay with it. And then slowly, we start to come to stillness. So as we come to stillness in our downward facing dog, come up onto the toes, lift the heels off and bend the knees. Press through the fingertips and the palms, and then draw this chest all the way through. So as if it's reaching towards the thighs. Lift the hips, as if somebody's pulling your hips upwards. Lift these hips as close up towards the ceiling as you possibly can. So you're really high up here. Hold here for a breath, inhaling. And then as you exhale, hold everything, your hips and your chest and your spine in place. And then just begin to shoot the backs of the knees away from you. And from this position, maybe start to draw the heels down. Now, the heels may get down, they might be off, especially even sometimes when you can get the heels down, like I normally can, but because it's really early in the morning and we're just starting to warm up, they're not on the floor yet, that's fine. It doesn't matter, the body is just warming up. Stay here for 2 deep breaths. Inhale. Press through the hands and lift the hips. Exhale. Last big breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, bend through the knees, look between the hands. We're going to step the right foot forward, step the left foot forward. Just allow yourself to dangle a little here, taking the backs of the hands onto the floor, head releasing. Begin to lift the hips slightly. So begin to straighten those legs a little bit. And then exhale, release through the knees, allow the whole body to release down, to soften down. And then on inhale, we're going to roll upwards to standing. So moving through each vertebrae if we can. One on top of the other until we get to our standing. Drawing the shoulders up towards the ears and down the back. Good, lovely. Make your way to the top of the mat if you're not already there. We'll take the big toes together. We're just going to flow through 3 sun salutation A. Nice and quickly. So this is what I'm saying when you're coming with your flow today. I just want you to flow in whatever way feels right for you, making things bigger, smaller, a little bit kind of more fluid. That's absolutely fine. Let's inhale, lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, palms to the floor, bend the knees, head releases. Inhale, halfway lift the hips. Exhale, palms down. Let's step back and through into your chaturanga of choice. So maybe knees down just to begin with. Tuck the elbows inwards. And then we'll inhale to baby cobra, cobra or upward facing dog, whichever you're working with. Draw the elbows back, peel the chest through, and press down through the toes. And then from here, tuck down the toes. Let's lift to our downward facing dog. Walk the dog out, doing any variation and anything that feels good for you today. If you want to come back to kind of a table pose, work with a cat-cow. If you want to walk through your dog, do. If you want to play with anything funky, doing planks or anything, that's fine. I'm going to stay here for 2 more deep breaths in our downward facing dog. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Coming back to our stillness here. We'll take 1 breath in a still downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the hips nice and high. Exhale, draw the chest through. And then begin to bend the knees, look between the hands. Let's step the left foot forward, right foot forward, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the floor, bend the knees as much as you need, but as we release the head down, think about lifting the hips up and begin to straighten the legs. Inhale, lift all the way to standing. Gaze the thumbs, draw the hands down the central line. Let's go again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, palms to the floor, head release. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the left foot back, right foot back, moving through your chaturanga, whichever option feels right for you. Come down in 1 straight unit if you're able. Inhale to baby cobra, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to our downward facing dog. Again, moving through anything that feels right for you here. Good. Lovely, yeah. So really make it feel good for yourself. We've got 3 more deep breaths in this dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's come back to the stillness in our downward facing dog. We're going to hold this for 1 breath in the stillness, pushing the backs of the knees back, drawing the heels down. Keep the hips lifted and the chest moving inwards. Big inhale. Big exhale. And then let's bend the knees. Look between the hands, engage the core. Step the left foot forward, right foot forward. Lifting up halfway. Exhale, palms down, head release. Inhale, lift into standing. Taking the hands to the heart center. Good. So this time I'm going to option for jumping backwards. So if you want to practice with that, we can start to practice. It's really good to get the heart rate going a little bit. So let's inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, palms to the floor, head release. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, press the hands down. We jump back straight into our chaturanga. So we bend the elbows as we jump back. As we inhale, we lift to our upward facing dog. Good. Exhale to the downward facing dog. And again, flow through anything that feels right for you. So if you want to flow into a couple of planks, maybe hold a plank, maybe play with coming onto different arms, into side planks, please feel free. This is your little space to do what feels right for you. Breathing deep. 3 more deep breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. Lovely, everybody. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And as you exhale, just make your way back to your downward facing dog. We'll hold our downward facing dog for 1 breath in stillness. Inhale, lift the hips nice and high. Exhale, drawing the chest through, drawing the heels down. And then bend the knees, look between the hands. And in order to jump here, we need to get a lightness into the core and into the hips. So we need to engage with the core, look between the hands, and we're thinking about getting these hips over the head. So we just want to go as if there's no sound when we come forwards. So engage here, inhale, and then begin to float forwards. Good, really nice, halfway lift. Exhale, palms down, head release. Inhale, let's lift to stand. Good. And exhale, draw the hands through. Lovely. Make sure your belt's nearby. So it can just be at the top of the mat. And let's take the big toes together. We're coming to our chair pose, but this time for our chair, I want us to interlace the hands behind the back before we come down. So interlace the hands. And then let's come to sit down, squeezing the thighs together. If it feels better to take the feet to hip distance apart, you absolutely can. Draw the hips down. As we're here, look down, make sure that you can see your toes, and just spread the toes out. And then looking forwards, begin to lift those arms upwards. And then if you can begin to flip that interlace around as well. So you're pushing the palms away from you. As you do this, draw the core in. So feel which one feels better for you. When you flip your palms, it's just a bit of a different action, and it can feel a bit weird on the shoulders. So if it feels too weird on the shoulders, just keep the hands normally in place, that's fine, and just lift the hands a little higher, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Wherever we're at, we want to sink a bit lower. Begin to lift this chest and think about lifting those hands. Good, really nice. Inhaling and exhaling, lifting the chest, inhaling. Good, and exhale, perfect, everybody. Just look down, make sure you can still see your toes. Good. Last big breath here in our chair pose. Inhale and exhale. Begin to release the hands, lifting them up. And from here, we're going to stay in our chair just for a few more breaths. We're going to interlace the hands again, but place them behind the head. Draw these elbows away, lifting the chest, and then this time see if you can lift the heels off the ground. Sink the hips a little lower. We're staying for 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Good. And exhale. 2 more deep breaths. Inhale. You can do it. And exhale. Keep those hips sinking down. Inhale. And as you exhale, drop the heels down. Release the hands. Come to a full forward fold. Head releases. Inhale, halfway fold. Exhale, let's step back. Moving through your vinyasa. So taking whichever option for yourself, moving through chaturanga, baby cobra, cobra, or upward facing dog. We'll meet in our downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, begin to shift the weight onto the left leg. We're lifting the right leg nice and high. 3-leg dog. From here, stack the right hip on top of the left. And then you can allow that foot to drop back as if it's reaching towards the left hip. So we're really reaching that heel back towards the left hip. From here, you have an option. You can either stay in this position, that's absolutely fine, or if wild thing is within your practice, or you just want to give it a go, you absolutely can. What you do here is you flip over and begin to place the right foot on the floor and lift this right hand up. It's a bit of back bend. It's a bit of a leap of faith into a wild thing. Beautiful, really well done. Great work, guys. Inhaling here. And exhaling. On your next inhale, let's reach all the way back round, coming back to a three-leg dog. Everybody squaring their hips towards the floor. And then looking forwards, we're just going to bend the right knee in towards the chest and then place this right foot down between the hands. You need to grab hold of the ankle and draw it forward you can. Place the left foot down onto the ground, 45-degree angle, and we'll windmill up to warrior two. Draw down through the hips. Just look over and make sure this knee is on top of the ankle, it's not going over. And then you can see the inner part of the right foot as well. Draw the shoulders down and take these fingertips wide away from each other, looking towards the right fingertip. Warrior two, we'll hold for a couple of deep breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Last big breath here. Inhale. Straighten that back leg. Good. And exhale. As you inhale, we're going to lift the right hand all the way up and reverse warrior. So keep the bend in the front leg, and we're just lifting this right hand all the way back towards the left toe. You can gaze upwards here towards the ceiling and keep any pressure going through the left hand really light. So you can take that hand away almost. There's nothing going through. Just one more deep breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Last big inhale. And then as you exhale, come all the way back to our warrior two. Good. From here, this is where you might want to take your belt. So if you have your belt, take your belt into the left hand and then swish the other part behind you. So from here, we're coming to a side angle bend, but this is that we might be able to practice with our bind. You don't have to, but you can, and it's a lot easier when we have the belt behind us. So taking that belt in the left hand, take it behind the body. From here, we want to take a really big bend in this right knee and taking the right hand down to the front of the foot, the inside. And from here, we need to get this shoulder quite low. So play with that and then see if you can reach behind, grab hold of the belt. If this is fine for you, you can grab hold of the hands as well and come into a bind, or you may just be holding onto the belt and then we'll twist towards the ceiling. Inhale, keep those hips drawing low. Brilliant, everybody. And exhale. Yes, perfect. Great, Nicola. Great, Julie. Fab, Billy, B. Yeah, Bethany. Brilliant, Amber. Good. Keep that bend in the front knee. Bethany, on my legs might just be a little wide. Yeah, great. Perfect. There you are. Last big breath here. Inhaling. And as you exhale, release the belt. Take it down to the floor and let's inhale, come up to warrior two again. Good. Looking forwards. From here, we're going to draw that back heel off the ground. We're squaring the hips off towards the front of the mat. So towards that right foot. I'm going to draw my foot a little bit further back, so just that I don't go out the screen. And then from here, we're going to reach forwards and take the hands to the floor. Just the fingertips and begin to lift this left leg off the ground. As we do this, stack the left hip on top of the right. So we're coming towards the fingertips being on the floor here, the right fingertips, and then the left hand might come onto the hips or all the way up to the ceiling into our half moon. Flex this back foot. Keep both legs really strong. And from here, if you want to play with an additional challenge, this is really hard. We bend that back leg. So we bend the left leg and we catch hold of the foot with the left hand. And then we open the heart out towards the side. That's a really, really big balance. So that's just one to play around with if you fancy it. Good, lovely. We'll take 2 more deep breaths. Fab, Julie, brilliant. Inhale. And exhale, twist the chest a little more towards the ceiling. Good. Last big breath. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly taking that foot all the way back down to the ground. Windmill both hands down towards the floor. Let's step back and make our way through our vinyasa of choice. So chaturanga, maybe on the knees, baby cobra, cobra, upward facing dog, and then back into our downward facing dog. stay here for a moment. Take a big deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Last big inhale. And then as you exhale, reach this right foot all the way up towards the sky. Left foot, left foot. Sorry, we're not doing the same side again. Reach the left foot all the way up towards the sky. And then stacking the left hip on top of the right. And then dropping this heel back towards the right hip. So really drawing it all the way over towards that right hip. And then this is your option now. If you want to play with moving to wild thing, we drop that left foot all the way to the floor and we take the left hand off the ground. So we're coming into this big back bend. This is absolutely optional as a wild thing. You do not need to do this. Good, really nice, everybody. Inhale and exhale. Slowly making your way back through to your downward facing dog. And that's a downward facing dog for everybody, but 3 legs. So keep that left leg up off the ground. Hips aligned to the floor. Look between the hands. And then we're going to come over into a plank. Draw the left knee in towards the chest and place this left foot down between the hands. Take the back foot onto the ground. Windmill up into our warrior 2 on our left side. Holding here. Good. Drop through the hips. Just make sure that that knee is stacked on top of the left ankle, that's the word. And make sure that you can see the inner edge of the left foot. Sinking down a little more, taking the fingertips away from each other and looking towards the left hand. Just take 2 more breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling, sinking a little lower, draw the navel in. And then from here we can take the right hand to meet the thigh. We can flip the left hand up and over, reversing the warrior. Keep the bend in the front knee. Lovely, just 2 deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful one. Last big breath. Inhale. And exhale. Lifting all the way back through a warrior 2. Have your belt. If you need one, if you don't need one, you don't need to take care. Take it in the right hand, and then we just take this belt all the way to the outside of the body. From here, we're going to draw this elbow down towards the knee, the left elbow, and then taking the hand down towards the floor. For the bind, we need to get as low as we can. So you really want the shoulder to draw down, 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 down. And from here, we take the left hand through, grab hold of the belt, and then we twist the chest towards the ceiling. If you don't need the belt, you can begin to creep the hands towards each other and hold onto the hands instead. Holding our bind, 3 deep breaths here, inhaling. Lovely, everyone. And exhaling, twist. Good. Inhaling. And exhale, twist. Good, fantastic. Great, Nicola, lovely. Last big breath, inhale. And exhale. Lower a little bit, release the belt, and then slowly from here we'll take the hands all the way back to your warrior 2. From our warrior 2, we're going to align the hips back, so we lift that back heel, we draw the hips so they're aligned to the front of the mat. You can find some spaces, so maybe you need to take the foot a little bit back, and either way we begin to lift the back foot off the ground and take the hands to the floor. We lift this right leg up, and then we stack the right hip on top of the left. And from here, we maybe just balance on the left hand and begin to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling. Keep that back foot flexed. And you can even shift the gaze if that feels right. It's a big balance. Maybe grabbing hold of the foot behind you. Good. So that's going to be a really big balance if you try to grab the foot. Good, good, good. You can get there, Amber. You can reach it. There you are. Good. Last 2 deep breaths here. Lovely, everybody. Keep those thighs hugging in towards each other and twist the chest towards the ceiling. Great. Last big breath. Inhale here. And exhale. Release the foot. Take the foot all the way back. Windmill the hands down. Taking your final vinyasa of choice. And then we'll meet in a child's pose. Come through downward dog. Meeting into a child's pose. You can also skip it out and just come straight to child's pose if you'd rather. Allow the head to release. Take an option in child's pose. You can take one hand on top of the other and place the forehead down. You can take the arms so that they're relaxed against the side of the legs, and either take the forehead down or take the head into one direction, taking whatever feels good for you in your child's pose. Keep the breath through the nose, deep inhales, deep exhales, as we allow the body to slightly calm. Big inhale here, big exhale. And as we're in our child's pose, just connecting back to that theme for today of openness. So even if you felt some of the things are a bit tricky when we work with heart openers, which generally open our shoulders, open our backs, it can be, we can tap into something a little more emotional or vulnerable. It can feel a bit scary. It can feel a bit frustrating. So just tap back to that theme of openness and see as we move through to a final pose, a final heart open pose, if you can approach it with openness, with a lightness. And then let's take the hands forward, so we come back to the seated position. Good. So we'll come from this position. So I want you to have your belt just accessible to you, so kind of near to you. From here, we're going to come back through a downward dog. We're not staying in a downward dog. We're just going to tuck the toes under, make our way to a downward dog, just as transitional. And then from here, lift the right leg nice and high. Keep the hips square, look between the hands, and draw the right knee towards the chest. From here, just drop that knee onto the floor. So we're coming to a pigeon pose. So as we do this in pigeon, one thing that's really important to remember is that this knee stays in line with the hip. It doesn't go outwards. So we want the knee in line with the hip. And then from here, we can work on taking the hips down towards the floor. Don't move it really far off the floor. If you do have a cushion, anything nearby, you can place that underneath, or you can just stay on the hand and stay a little bit propped up. From here, if your pigeon is quite flexible, then you might be able to move this shin more to parallel. As you do this though, just keep that knee in line with the hip. Don't make the knee go out to get the shin forward. It doesn't really matter too much. From this position, we're going to come to an open pigeon. So if the hip isn't far down yet, I encourage you to stay playing with just the fingertips to the floor and really lifting this chest upright. So lifting the chest all the way through and lifting up and pressing this back leg down, thinking about the hips going down. If you're quite near the floor, what you can do if you're all the way on the floor, you can take this strap around the back of the foot. So it might feel a little weird to get into initially. We take the strap around the foot, and then from here, we want to take the chest forward. So we want to take the arms all the way over towards that foot. And from here, you may walk these hands backwards, think about the chest drawing forwards, keep the hips drawing down towards the floor. And even for an additional pull, you can begin to draw that foot a little bit back. Just play around here with what feels all right. We're just going to stay here for a few breaths. Take a big deep inhale. And a big deep exhale. Good, lovely. If you're in that kind of full pigeon with a strap, think about drawing the elbows in a little bit together as well. Nice. Good, and then walking the hands backwards. Lovely. That's perfect, everyone. Yeah, so you're just finding the place that's right for you. And they're all doing the same things. Last big breath here, inhale. And as you exhale, just releasing that belt, and we'll release down onto the floor. So that can be either onto the forearms, or it can be all the way to the head on the hands. So we'll just stay here for 3 breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath. Inhale. And exhale. On the next inhale, let's take both hands down to the floor. We're going to tuck this back toe under, lifting the back knee off the ground, and then wiggle all the way back to a 3-leg downward facing dog. Just stretch that right leg up, and then placing the right foot down. Lifting the left foot nice and high, 3-leg dog. Look between the hands. Draw this left knee in towards the chest, and then place that knee down onto the floor. Making sure the hips are moving downwards towards the floor. Again, if you have a cushion nearby, you can just place a cushion underneath. If you don't worry about it too much. It's okay if you're higher up. Just placing the fingertips down and lifting the chest through. This is all that we're doing. We're creating openness in the chest here, in the heart center. If your hips are on the floor, you can begin to grab your belt and place that around the foot, lifting the foot upwards. And then taking the hands up and over, drawing these elbows together and walking the hands down the strap. And breathe. It's the most important thing, really. We take a big, deep inhale and a big, deep exhale. Good, yeah. It can be a bit finicky to get into that pigeon with a strap as well to begin with. Good, lovely. Inhaling and exhaling. We'll take a few more deep breaths here. So really thinking as you're in your pigeon of drawing this chest forwards. The chest is peeling forwards, and it can be quite a lot for the back, can be quite a lot for the heart. So if it does, just practice with that openness intention, maybe closing the eyes, just seeing how it all feels in the body. Last big breath here. Big deep inhale. And as you exhale, releasing that strap, and we'll make our way down, either onto our forearms or all the way down, one hand on top of the other, let the head release fully. Just finding whatever feels right for you in our lying down pigeon. We'll take 3 deep breaths here, inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath, inhale here. And exhale. On the next inhale, placing both hands down towards the floor, tuck the back toe in, lifting the back knee, engage the core, and let's lift straight to lift that left leg all the way up to a 3-leg dog. From here, placing the foot back down, and we can place the knees down. We're making our way now into our Shavasana. So taking any props, any jumpers, anything that would feel good for your Shavasana today, we'll come to lie down. If you want to take a variation of inversion, you can take the legs up the wall. So that can be a nice way to do your Shavasana and get an inversion in. Otherwise, coming to our normal Shavasana here, taking the arms a little away from the body, taking the feet away from each other, and beginning to close the eyes. As we're in our Shavasana, we let the breath come back to natural. And in Shavasana today, we've been practicing with openness. Just tap into the body, all the way from the feet. Do a body scan up through the body towards the heart center. See how it's feeling. See if there's anywhere that you need to take a little extra breath to. Your mind begins to drift, just come back to the breath, come back to the inhale and the exhale. does wander. That's fine, that's very normal. Just if thoughts come in to you, it's as if they're a cloud, just acknowledge them, accept them, and let them drift away just for a few minutes' time. Noticing if there's any tension in the face. Softening the gaze behind the eyelids. Softening between the brow, cheeks and jaw. Taking the tongue from the roof of the mouth if it's there. Allowing the whole body to release into the ground. And beginning to deepen that breath, big deep inhale into the belly, into the heart, into the lungs, and exhaling through the mouth. And to wiggle the fingertips and the toes. And lifting arms up over the head, lengthening out through the body, full body stretch. On an exhale, draw the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a little hug. Slowly rolling over onto whichever side serves you. And then beginning to make your way to a crossover position. From here, we'll take the hands to the heart center. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Drop the head down towards the hands. Soften through the body and begin to open.